What's going on, good people? Y'all know what time it is, man. This is the Hump Day Happy Hour Tap In. I am one half of the BOTB Live Show podcast. Jay Walker the third. That's my brother, my partner, them Carolina Dirt. What's going on with you?
Hey, shit, you already know what it is. It's the Hump Day Happy Hour Tap In, man. We back at it, bro. We closer to the weekend, dog. I've been ready for the weekend.
Indeed, indeed. That's what we do, man. We hit y'all at the midway point to check on y'all, try to touch bases, see how everybody doing, man. The world uh is in a weird place. I'm gonna
Hmm.
say weird. Um, Not good, not bad. For all the messed up stuff that I see, it's balanced out by real people, man. And if you think that it's messed up, you're not enough around. You're not enough. You're not around enough real people. You know what I'm saying? So don't see it any one way. But as always, we always bring extraordinary people to Bar BOTB. Um, this time is no different. I welcome y'all. Welcome Miss Christy Pruitt-Haynes. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Like you said, we're halfway to the weekend, so all's well in my world.
Hey man, look, just like on just an off note, um, I was getting ready to get ready. You know, I think everybody is kind of a little bit ADHD, so I'll start something and not really, you know what I'm saying, think about what I'm doing. But I watched the Jamie Foxx special on Netflix. If y'all
I heard
haven't
everybody
seen
talk
it,
about it.
it's not what you think, but it's what you need.
Okay, I
Okay.
might check it out.
I'm
Yeah,
about to
it's
check that
not
out.
for sure, man. And it's no spoiler or nothing, but he takes the time to explain his illness that happened.
Oh, good.
And for somebody of his stature, especially when it occurred, everything was hush hush, everything was locked down.
Hmm.
He didn't have to, make an explanation. He gave a good presentation of it in a show form, and you should check it out. It's worth your time.
All right. I am adding that to the list for this week.
Absolutely.
I'll,
It's gonna be cold, so you might as well.
Exactly. It's too cold to get out the house and do anything else, so I will be right here in the living room anyway.
I'm turning on while I'm at work. Hopefully, I don't laugh too hard or too loud. But uh,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's
You
good
might
because
crack,
uh, well,
yeah.
you know, it's good that he held, for content reasons. We in the content world, so he already
Hmm.
knew he can maximize that. But I was listening to the Fat Joe interview on the Breakfast Club. His new album called "The World Has Changed on Me" or something like "The World Has Changed," "The World's Changed on Me." And that title alone, he broke down that title probably about 30 minutes in. I was like, bro, he correct, man. If you just think about how the world, the world's always evolving, but change and evolving kind of two different things. You hope for the evolution of something good, but change could be good and bad. And
Hmm.
how he referenced it, like it's really, when you sit back and look at it, it's really messed up. And he even spoke on the Puerto Rican thing when they were talking about the Puerto Ricans. Um, and he was just like, y'all gonna vote for somebody that said your country's trash. Like the world is changing on me. Like Puerto Ricans have so
Hmm.
much pride, and matter of fact, a lot of minorities have a lot of pride in their heritage and culture. And for somebody to disrespect you like that on a stage like that, and you let it go, now the
Hmm.
person down the block you ready to fight. But somebody else, you gonna end up voting on their side. He was like, the world has changed, and I totally agree how he broke that down.
Yeah, once upon a time, politics wasn't. It wasn't even a whole deep discussion. You know what I'm saying? And I said this on prior shows. Like, you got 8 and 10 year olds. Like, are we gonna be all right? I
Hmm.
didn't give a damn about the president when I was 10.
Heck no.
And you didn't have to, because I think back then, at least from my perspective, the two major parties, they each agreed on where we were trying to go. So they agreed on the goal, they differed on the process.
Right.
But if they were to define what they wanted this country, how they wanted their families to function, all of that, those were fairly similar. There were some differences, but they were much more similar than what they are now. They just had different ways of getting there. Now, they don't even agree on the goals. They don't agree on where we're trying to go. The two sides, the divide is much greater than it has ever been, and that gap breeds a lot of fear.
No
I totally
question.
agree.
no
I told
question.
you.
But yeah, I can't be afraid. I can't be afraid no more, man. Whatever is gonna be. I kind of get
That is
that
true.
attitude from my mother. Um, she serves a high power, and it's much higher than the presidency. That's what I say. But we gonna get into our segment. It's the first call. It's AKA the six pack. It's kind of like a icebreaker. Random questions don't amount to anything. You're not gonna win anything, but just kind of like a heat check. Let people know a little bit about you without letting them know too much.
Hold up. You ain't about
Sound
to
good.
win nothing. Nothing.
Just
Nothing.
you
Nothing.
putting that out there on the front end. So don't expect nothing. Don't ask for
Yeah,
nothing. Don't look for nothing. Got it. Got it. Okay.
I got them all right. What do I get? Uh,
Yeah. Okay.
thank
We doing this for fun. All right.
Okay, so um, I like the car question. What and you seem like a very responsible individual, so we may not get the type of answer that we normally get.
Hold up.
What
Our show, our show, we don't hold no bar. You can talk reckless, you can do whatever. Just be who you
Okay.
are. Don't worry about
Good to
nothing
know.
else.
Good to know.
what automobile, car, mode of transportation that you had access to, that you owned or had access to, that got you in the most trouble?
Ooh. Let me make sure my mama not gonna watch this. Um, because that's got to change your answer a little bit.
That's
So
why I
I didn't
said had
own it.
access to.
Yes, I didn't own it, but I had access to it anytime I wanted. My best friend had a Maserati, and I cannot remember
Mm.
the model number.
Wow.
That car, like, if you look at the pedal, it started speeding up. You didn't even have to touch it. You just had to look at it. You could probably think about it and it would accelerate. It
Mm.
was the smoothest ride, and before you know it, you're on the interstate and you look down and you're going triple digits and you're not even aware because it's just gliding. It's like it's gliding on ice. That car was dangerous. So knock on wood, there were never any issues. Everybody's good. We live to tell the tales. But yeah, that car, and I'm not even gonna tell you everything that was done in that car, but just the process of driving the car was a little dangerous, but in the
That's the
best
first.
possible way.
That's a first time entry. Nobody said Maserati.
Yeah,
We
nobody
Yes.
see
said
we've
that.
heard some exotic cars, but not a Maserati.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful car. It's this beautiful gray color. Yeah, that was dangerous. That was dangerous.
Okay. Um, my second question: greater fear of extreme heights or enclosed places?
Extreme heights, hands down. I was in a rappelling accident when I was 12 years old.
Why
So
was you
I had all
repelling
the
at 12 years old?
Yeah, why would you
hey,
you in the military?
why not? No, that was fun. I've always been adventurous. I'm always up for a good time and I will try anything twice. But that right there, so I was all hooked up. They hooked me up to the ropes and everything, and we were rappelling down the side of a building. I lean back, getting ready to come down, and I just see the rope slide down next to me, and next thing I know, I'm falling.
Mm,
Oh
So I
wow.
mm.
fell I fell 32 feet. I
Sheesh.
hit the ground and it knocked the wind out of me. It broke my wrist and I crushed three vertebrae in my back. So after that, the feeling of free falling or the feeling of being too high freaks me out. So I can handle like airplanes. I'm fine in a plane. But if I'm standing on something really high and look over the edge, I immediately get a nauseous feeling. Because that feeling of free falling is something I will never forget.
You about to give me
How long has
nightmare.
I'm,
You about to give me that free falling nightmare. You know that nightmare where you just fall and you can't
You
stop.
falling and you never hit the ground. Yeah, you just going and going.
Yeah, you about to give me that just because you
I
said you could have
promise you
kept that to
though,
yourself.
that dream's a lot better than when you do hit the ground because that's the other feeling you ain't never gonna forget.
right, right. So you ain't changed the smoke detectors in your house in a long time, huh?
They just beep. They just beep. It's a good thing I'm black because if not, it would not work out well. They just constantly go and we just gonna let it ride.
You not standing on no chairs to reach up
Nope.
and do nothing. Okay, I
That's
got you.
somebody that's not my testimony. That's for somebody else to do.
I can dig it. I can dig it. So philosophical question that I ask
Hmm.
as a final. We did lose R.I.P. Nikki Giovanni, one of the greatest
Yes.
poets from our culture, man. I don't mean that lightly. If you don't know who Nikki Giovanni is, your parents didn't do well with you. Go look
Mine
her
Hmm.
up.
didn't. I don't know how
Um,
you know and I don't. We got the same parents.
okay,
I damn know.
because I'm a reader of books and you are a reader of ingredients. Um,
I was thinking that too when you said it. I tell you, please.
um, dead or alive, you got a white room, white table, white chairs, very matrixy. Two people that you want to sit down and have a conversation with, unrelated to
Um,
you.
unrelated. Okay, so I mean, the first one, he's not related to me, but I count him as related. But I'm gonna still throw out the answer. That's my best friend. I lost him September 14th, 2021, and
Mm,
I would give a lung, a kidney, and half my heart to have 5 more minutes with him. So
God
that
bless.
would definitely be the first person. That's Marcus. Marcus is my best friend in life. He was the person who I did everything with, my ride or die, knew all my secrets, and yeah, finding him and losing him was the worst day of my life, like hands down, bar none. So yeah, first would be Marcus, just because that's my boy. That's the other half of my heart. But second would be, and I'm proud of me for saying that without crying, getting through all that without crying. That was a big deal for me. But the second person, I would say, let me think. Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna go. It's gonna sound generic, but I'm gonna give you the reason why. I'm gonna go Martin Luther King, but here is why. I want to know if he actually was as um if he was actually as unangry as he came off.
Mm,
Like
Mm,
I don't know how you go through everything he went through. I don't know how you see everything he saw and still appear as even keeled as he did, because the threats, the way everyone was coming at him, both white folks and black folks who didn't agree with his kind of nonviolent approach, the way you go through all of that and you still show up every day and you don't come out fighting, like I don't understand that. So I would love to just know what was going on behind the scenes in his mind.
that's dope. That's deep. That's my
that's
three.
dope. All right, my three, real quick.
All right.
Just because you said something. All right, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. We're gonna take a pause for Marcus.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Cheers. Thank
All
you.
right, all right. Uh, if you was roller skating, what song do you want to just hear while roller skating?
Ooh. Am I roller skating by myself or is this a couple skate?
It's what if you throwing some skates that night? What you want to hear while you roller skating?
All right, let me think. I am going to go with Meeting in the Ladies' Room by Climax.
Mm.
Yeah, that was my song back in the day.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I know sometimes, young people run across these things. Look up climax. Climax is not spelled traditionally. It
No,
is
it's spelled with a K.
KLY.
K-Y. Yeah, K-L-Y.
Okay.
Would you
I know.
rather be
I'm tracking. I got you.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. We right there.
Would you rather be a pilot or a captain of a ship or a captain of the plane?
The plane. I like the bird's eye view. In spite of my thing with heights, I want to be the captain of the plane so I can see everything going on.
I never thought about. A captain is responsible for more people, just in general when you think about the ship and stuff like that. But people never really. They just say the captain of the ship, but you got to think how many people on the ship,
That's
even if it's a boat. You're like
yeah, that's a whole lot of
it's
folks.
it's more people than what you think. Like what most
Mm-hmm.
people think.
I'm not doing the
Um,
boat because just randomly, because you said that, I saw a reel today where it's like a tsunami and the boat is
Mm.
going up and then slamming down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Nah,
don't
at
sound
least if I
fun.
fall out the sky, I'm a panic. But when it's over, it's over. I don't feel nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
I
Go
don't know.
ahead.
You can hit that water and still be alive. That shit hit like a brick.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Uh, and my last one. Uh, what was the first bourbon you tasted?
Mm.
Ooh, goodness, I got to go way back. First, um, the first I tasted was probably Woodford. Um, yeah, it was probably Woodford. And back then, when I first started drinking bourbon, I didn't like it at all. I thought it all tasted like gasoline. I had to develop my palate, and clearly I got good at it. But yeah, Woodford was probably, if not the first, it was definitely one of the first. But I'm having to go back a few years to remember.
Let me ask you this real quick, and
Hmm.
this is a bonus question. I usually slip this one in. You are very what's that word I'm thinking of? You can say your words very well. So what's the hardest word for
Articulate.
you to pronounce? Yeah, articulate. What's the hardest word for you to pronounce?
I have two. The first one is rural, Rural. I can't say that word to save my life.
You
So
did
Yeah,
pretty
you
well.
was
You did
you
pretty
was
well, but
struggling.
rural.
Just no,
you were
no, no,
I
no.
struggling, but you
was.
did pretty well.
No, but that took every ounce of thought, and I was like, how do I move my mouth? Like that was concentration. That was hard. That was
I
hard.
never heard nobody say that. I've never.
Yes, I
Wow.
can't
I
for
can see
whatever
why it's hard
reason.
though.
Yeah, it's something about that letter combination. I can't get it right. So that is the first. And then people say I say temperature funny. So I pronounce that in a
Like,
weird way. Instead
like,
of saying
Temperature,
like how hot it
temperatures,
is.
yeah, like
Okay.
how hot it is. So instead of saying temperatures, for whatever reason, I say temperature.
but you know,
So
chores. The word chores and temp don't go together because it sounds like it sounds like temperatures, like you're doing chores.
yes. And the
Yeah.
Nah,
way and the way it's written to me, it looks like tour. Ture is at the end. So in my mind, I'm saying it phonetically properly, phonetically correctly. But most people say I say it weird. So, but that first word, that R word, I can't say that to save my life.
But
I've
you
been
good.
saying that the English language is trash. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is.
Like
It's
the
illogical.
things, it's illogical. They tell people to spell things or say things phonetically, but if you say things phonetically, you're gonna get a lot of words wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Um, Silent letters, it's a silent letter. Why does it even have to be in there? I don't get it.
Yes.
Um, when does a G make a Y sound? As far as I know, it's literally only lasagna.
Yeah. I think it is. I
So
think it
why is
is.
Y I? So why does Y sound like an I?
And why does C sound like K? Why do we need both of those letters if they just doing this? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. There was
Yeah,
just some folks doing some weird stuff. Maybe they were drinking when they came up with all the pronunciation.
I,
Well,
yeah,
real quick. So the guy Jake Fever, he's the guy we were actually telling you about with all the Hennessy, and
Mm-hmm.
he was asking for your TikTok. Well, he said you seen your TikTok stuff, and yeah, she was talking
Oh
about
yeah.
Will the single barrel. Yeah, he's been
Oh
on our
yeah.
platform several times, but yeah, he's the one I told you that your liquor collection, like he kind of got you
absolutely.
with the liquor collection.
All right. Well, Jake, we're gonna have to compare. We're gonna have to compare bottles and all of that. So yes,
Don't worry.
I'm a fan of TikTok. I am a fan of Weller. Weller is one of my favorite brands. I was very happy to have the full Weller Rainbow. And Jake, thank you for following me. I appreciate that. Everybody else should too.
Don't
I
worry.
Shameless
agree.
plug.
I was I was already scheming having both of y'all on the show, depending on how much you like being on the platform with us. But I was already scheming about having both of y'all on the show
Perfect.
together.
I'm game. Let's do it.
So he asked you about your first bourbon. What's your first alcoholic beverage that you did you get drunk intentionally or unintentionally? Because it can happen both ways.
So, the first time I drank, I was well, no, yeah, well, they can't arrest me. Statute of limitations over, whatever. Um, I was in high school and we didn't know what we were doing, so we just mixed some gin with some Seven Up or something. It was disgusting, terrible. Now, when I actually started drinking was my sophomore year of college. And back then, college students are broke. So you got to make your money stretch.
MD
What I was
2020.
drinking, Mad Dog 2020 sure was. Mad Dog 2020 and Cisco. Those
Hold
were
on,
my
excuse me. Hold on, excuse me.
go-tos.
Excuse me, ma'am. You speak too articulate. You look like a strong black woman. You look like you pay all your bills on time. You got
I
good
do now.
credit.
I do.
You you
All
got
those
all the
things.
utensils. You got all the utensils in your kitchen to cook whatever you want. For you to be
Probably
drinking
two of them.
MD, for you to be drinking MD 2020 and Cisco, you can't be hanging out in the hood. You can't be in
It's
the
about
trap.
the growth. We not where we
Exactly. It's
was.
the journey. That's where I was. This is where I am. But I'm never going to deny my roots. Yes, my sophomore year, my first semester sophomore year, like I was a straight A student. I started college when I was 16. So all through
Here
middle
come through
school,
it
high
again.
school, I'm telling you, it was a blip. All through middle school, high school, freshman year, all A's. I get to that sophomore year and I decide I need to try alcohol. I need to just try some new things. That was a bad decision. I would literally go to class with Mad Dog 2020 in my water bottle.
Mm.
And I
Mm,
had a rule
mm.
back then. I would never call home if I had been drinking because that just felt wrong to me because my parents aren't really drinkers. My mom's not really a drinker. So I would never call home if I really if I had been drinking. And at that point, I typically talked to my mama every day. Like mom and I are extremely close and we still are. So for that semester, it would be days that she didn't hear from me. So she's calling, I'm not answering, I'm ducking and dodging, I'm ignoring the answer machine, looking at that little beep, that little light blinking. She finally sent me a letter. I don't know what's going on, but something's wrong, and we about to pull up if I don't hear from you. So I'm like, Mama, I'm good, I'm good. I've just been busy, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to the end of that semester, and I get my grades. This is how you know it was Mad Dog 2020 and Cisco. I have never made below a B, and I could count the number of B's I've made in my entire educational career on one hand up until that point. That semester, I got a B, a C, a D, and an F. I had
Mm.
never made a D. I had never made a F. I had never made a C. And the only B I got, my one decent grade, was in my human sexuality class, and my daddy would have been fine with me failing that.
Right.
So, next semester, I quit drinking. I got my head back on straight. It was just this one little blip. But yeah, Mad Dog 2020, Cisco and I, we were like this for a few months. It
What
was
was your
fun times.
what was your flavors? What was the flavors you was
Um,
drinking?
Purple. So I guess it was grape. I just remember it was purple. We
It was
don't really
more
do
purple
flavors.
than grape.
Yes,
Yeah, it was
exactly.
way more purple than grape. It was
It was
way.
it was purple or whatever somebody else had. Because again, I was a broke college student. So, if you whatever you got, go ahead and pour a little bit in there.
Mm.
So yeah.
I used to.
Yeah.
I didn't finish my 4 years in college. I didn't finish my 4 years. I used to come home every weekend. So I had a crew that went to college, and I had a crew that stayed
That
home and
didn't.
just worked. Yeah, and
Keeps
my
you
crew that
grounded.
stayed home. Yeah, but my crew that stayed home and worked was they knew where to get the MD 2020, and that's we have so many stories, but that shit is not good for you.
No, it's
That
not.
shit,
It's not even good. Like, let alone not good for you. It just don't taste good.
but
When
don't
my
it feel like
daughter
you
and
get
niece,
drunker? Don't it
oh
feel like you
yeah,
got drunker than
because it
drinking some real good stuff?
because it's so much sugar in it that
Yeah.
mixes with it. Like it's all wrong. When my daughter went to college, both she and my niece, I'm like, look, if y'all are gonna drink good stuff, I can send you a list. I will buy it for you if I need to. You can't be out here representing drinking garbage. Like that's just not okay.
And
Mm.
I understand. I understand not having money. I got off work and went to the liquor store one day, and we got a big wholesale liquor store at Greens. I don't know if you call it wholesale. I guess you call it wholesale. And these college kids were coming out because we stayed. I'm by a college. I'm buried by South Carolina Gamecocks.
Hmm.
And they were coming out, and they were coming out with cases of taco. Cases. So what? 6 bottles in a case. So they
Hmm.
might have paid $30.
No, they didn't pay $30. Wait,
Exactly.
unless it was if it was the liter bottle, then yeah, they paid 30.
That's
I,
But that was it.
I used to work with this little young white dude, man, and he might have been 19. I think he might have just turned 20. And he was like, "Hey man, we got to be cool, just on some coworker stuff." He was like, "Hey, I got a little function tonight. You want to buy me some liquor?" All right, cuz I ain't gonna stand in your way.
Hmm.
I follow me to the liquor store. I'll go get what you need. We pull up to the liquor store. I ask him what he want. He said, "Hey man, give me 2 half pints of taco." And he gave me a $5 bill. And I was just looking at him like,
Where's
I'm
the
not gonna
rest?
get 2 half pints of nothing with
Hmm.
$5. Man, when I went in there and I came back out with a folding dollar and some coin change, I said, "Wait, I'm gonna go back in and get me a half pint because I got to see what this is." And I'm fully grown. I might be about 27 or 28.
Hmm.
I drank that half pint of taco, man, and I died for 72 hours.
Yep. That
For
it'll do it.
72 hours, man. There's no way. And I got a cousin who talked about he was drinking some doggone, what do you say, orange taco?
I was like
Man,
watermelon or some shit. It was a flavored taco. It might have
let
been
me tell
apple
you
taco.
something. Let me tell you something, man. We're not supposed to judge people.
I
If I
judge.
see you drinking taco, I am judging you. Now I
I'm with you.
understand that my judgment don't mean nothing, and it shouldn't mean nothing to you.
It
Hmm.
But
means
if
something
you're
to me.
But
wondering,
it's still there.
I'm judging.
I'm with you.
There's some
I'm with
there's
you.
some crack very near you. Some
Yes.
if you're not under the age of 22, there are some illicit drugs somewhere near you.
Yes.
Okay.
So what was
Save up
what
your
was
$5 and get you a real something.
what was your first lesson when you got drunk, or what was the first lesson somebody told you before you got drunk when it come to drinking?
Well, the first was don't call your mama while you're drunk.
That was good
Um,
advice. That
yeah, I'm
was
still
really good
sticking to
advice.
that. What's funny is though, my daughter, she's a junior in college. Anytime she does get drunk, I'm her first phone call. And I will tell you, I love it. Those are some of our funniest conversations. Like I will never forget them. But beyond that, it was, and again, this was back when I was young. We were in college. They were like, if you get it out, you'll feel better the next day.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that.
it was true. Like it was true. It wasn't very ladylike, but you did what you had to do.
I
So
didn't
yeah,
have
that
that.
was
I didn't have that, man. I wish there's plenty of times that I wish I could, but I can count the
hmm
number of times that I had to give it back.
well, sometimes you got to. You got class at 8 in the morning. You got to be ready to rally. So
I was
so
in the
yeah,
army,
that
so
oh,
being drunk on duty was just part of that was regular everyday programming.
you just had to learn to work with it.
You just keep running.
Yep. Well, but it was good advice for me. It worked. It worked. And if you never, the other thing my roommate told me, I'll never forget this. She's like, if you keep drinking, you never have to deal with coming down. You never get a hangover if you're still drunk. So they were like, just keep sipping. If you got a
I
weekend,
don't know
just
if
make it a
that was good
marathon.
advice. Yeah, I don't
No,
know
it,
if
it
that.
wasn't. It was accurate. Eventually you got to pay the piper. So eventually it catches up to you. But the idea, if you know you're going out multiple nights in a row, you may as well just keep drinking during the day too. You stay drunk, you never have to deal with the hangover.
What did she end up
What?
doing with her life?
Oddly enough, she is a doctor. She is a very
Wow.
good doctor. So she made it work, She made it work. I guess she knew the whole chemical stuff behind it. She got into the science of it, but that was her logic. If I keep drinking, I never have a hangover.
I want to talk to her. We ain't got to go live. We could just talk like this. We ain't got to go live and nothing. I want to hear this.
Tell me
But
your secrets.
I do want to ask you something that's hard for people. You have been in corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that corporate America, when it comes to drinking, that's one of those things where businesses, they take people out, they have drinks. But when it comes to their employees, they can't have their employees coming drunk, but they can go make a sale or they can make a pitch or whatever. how do you handle, or how do people in corporate America handle the parties or the Christmas
Mm-hmm.
parties or the selling pitch parties? How does that go about? Because me, I wish I could be it. Like, I be wanting my job to tell me, hey, we got a salesman coming in. I need you to
Mm-hmm.
take him out. Because if I take him out, I got I got I got a lot of bodies on my on my resume. I put a lot of people down. So
Yep.
I ain't gonna lie, I want to use my superpower. But how
There
do
you go.
people handle that?
So it's interesting. For the way I ended up handling it is I picked the industries I worked in very specifically. So early in my career, I was in very kind of traditional industries. I worked in security. I headed HR, but I was, in a security industry. I was in banking industry for a while, and those are very buttoned up, and you don't even talk about the stuff you do on the weekends. And yes, if you take a client out, you let them drink, but you have one cocktail tops. Like, it was a very different environment. Then in 2001, I went to work for the NBA. So I headed HR for the Memphis Grizzlies. We drank in the office. Like, that was a totally different experience. So my
Right.
first month or two there, I kept talking to my friends. I'm like, I'm gonna get sued for something. These people are wilding out in this. This is crazy. It's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. That somehow I'm gonna get named in some lawsuit or something, because this is crazy. But after about 2 months, once I settled in, it was, I will never work anywhere that doesn't allow this, because we still worked hard and we got our stuff done. We just had fun. So after that, my next job was with MTV Networks. So when you think about MTV, the television show, like, we literally had a drink cart in the office.
Mm.
So for me, I just picked industries that would allow it, because I knew I needed that part of the environment and the culture. And I knew I had no desire to separate who I was after five versus who I was before, because I'm Christy. I'm whether I'm drinking or not, I'm still gonna be smart. I'm still gonna get stuff done. So I just looked for organizations that leaned into that culture. So it doesn't mean we weren't accountable, doesn't mean we weren't responsible, but we just did it with a bit more flair and fun than most companies. But yeah, for other folks, you just got to know, a lot of people have that rule. If you're my LinkedIn friend, you can't be my Facebook friend. You don't need to know both sides of my life like that.
You
So it's about knowing where to draw those lines and being very diligent about it. There are only a few folks from certain offices that I would talk to and hang out with on the weekends, because everybody doesn't need to know you like that. So you
That's
just got to
what
have
I'm
that.
about to
You got to
say.
have a bit of discernment there.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie.
I can barely tolerate you sober. So
Yeah.
I know if I get on this drink,
It's going to be a
Everything
problem.
coming out.
It's going to be a problem. All the stuff I've been
right,
saying under my breath, and all the stuff that's been in my text group where I'm talking about you, I'm
right,
bound to say it. So,
right.
very true. Very true. Got to watch it.
Um, that I've always wanted that knowledge of how people do that. And then you see people that get drunk and take people out drunk, and they keep their job, and it's just like, all right, just because I'm lower on the work in the workforce, I can't
Hmm.
do that, but you can do that. But
And
I can
that's the
handle my
thing.
liquor better.
You got to know, and you have to pay attention to the culture of your company. Some companies are going to be fine with it. Some companies are fine with it if you're the top performer. So if you're making them enough money, it doesn't matter what you do. Other companies are going to be much stricter. So just pay attention, look around. What I will always tell people, and quite honestly, especially Black people, never be the first person to get drunk and never be the drunkest.
Man,
So you make sure there is always somebody that much drunker than you. So no matter what goes down, they're going to always throw their name out before they throw yours out.
I
So
work
don't be
for
first and don't be most.
I work for a small business, like a mom and pop place, and
Mm-hmm.
when we have our Christmas parties, and if I show up, it's one drink and I'm out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is I'm the big black man. I'm the only big black man. I'm not the only black person, but I'm the only big black man. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather them hear stories of not knowing what I do, like just trying to figure it out, than me show my ass. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in there. My brother know. I look for a victim whenever I'm in
He a
a
jerk, man.
drinking whenever I'm in a drinking setting, I look for a victim. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I've been in that setting, and I'm not saying I'm the best drinker out there, but what I'm saying is you won't see me go down. I'm
Exactly.
gonna stand tall enough for you to go down before I go down. Now, when I get to the car
Hmm.
or when I get home, yeah, I'm gonna get that shit back.
It's a wrap.
I may
It's a
get it
wrap.
back,
Yes.
but I'm gonna handle myself, especially at work, as
Yeah.
professional as possible. But even around our friends, I kind of got a reputation uphold, so I try to stick to that more so than
Hmm.
being outlandish. But
I
there's
don't
times
know,
I
man.
go out where I might have one drink instead of 4 or 5. I might just
Hmm.
have a sip, or I might just be like on some chill shit. But other than that, yeah, I've always wanted to
I'm
know how
never
people
gonna
handle that.
drink. Yeah, I'm never gonna drink away from home like I would at home.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
That's
definitely.
absolutely.
yeah, I'm never
Absolutely.
gonna do that.
Well, and even at home, like I keep my water bottle right next to me. If I have my Glencairn, my water bottle is right there next to me, and I'm gonna go back and forth between the two because I'm 50 years old almost, so I can't do what I did when I was 20.
Say
So you
that.
got to be smart with it, because that's the benefit of wisdom. I know I've got to mix it out. I got to hydrate. If I know I'm going to like a whiskey or a bourbon festival, I will literally start that morning with water and electrolyte powder. So by the time that evening comes, when I'm at the festival, I can drink and taste everything and still live to tell the tale.
Still walk around. And
Mm-hmm.
it's different for different situations. Like you said, you working for Fortune 100 companies type. Like liquor ain't the problem. Like that's why liquor is out because they can't have the cocaine out.
Exactly. 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 So, if you're drunk, you can sober up. If you high, that's going to affect you a lot longer and in much bigger ways.
Right.
But I will say what's been crazy, I recently lost a bunch of weight. And I will tell everybody I lost my drinking weight. So I had to
Mm.
relearn my tolerance level, because what I could drink 2 years ago, like I can't even do half of that anymore. And I'll tell anyone, like I'm a sipping girl. I'm not a drinking girl anymore because I can't do it. It's very, very different. Fats helps the alcohol to really dissolve a little quicker in your system. And I don't have as much of it, which I'm thankful for. I don't want it back. But but I had to relearn my levels, because the first time I really drank after losing a significant amount of weight, thankfully I was at home. I was out in the backyard with friends. I couldn't even make it from my own backyard to my bedroom.
Mm.
So I'm like, one of y'all gonna have to get me in. If not, I'm gonna be sitting here right here in this yard tomorrow morning. So anytime you have significant changes in your size, reassess your tolerance, because it will change up on you and it will surprise you.
What?
That's a conversation that people need to have more of.
Hmm.
I mean, I remember coming up and not to be sexist or whatever, but I can tolerate whatever hate you gonna throw at me. But and not you specifically. It's just women didn't drink like hard liquor,
Yeah,
and if
Hmm.
they did, it was gonna be a shit show.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Hmm.
feel me?
Yeah.
So I just feel like some people need to have the conversation on top. Just because you are of age to drink, just because you had the money to purchase it, don't mean that that's your shit.
Just because you can does not mean you should.
There you
Because
go. That part.
they purchased off somebody else's opinion. They don't even know if they like that shit. They just purchased
Yes.
off somebody else's opinion.
Well,
Um,
like my daughter, she's, like I said, she's 21 now. She just turned 21 a couple weeks ago, and she's tiny. She's 5'2" and like the size of your pinky. But before she went to school, I was like, the first place you get drunk, I want that to be at home.
I said the
And
same
I
thing. I
and I
said the
want
same.
you to practice. I want you to know how wine affects you versus vodka versus bourbon versus this versus that. And she is a control freak, so she's never going to drink so much. Like if she can tell if she's starting to get tipsy, she will leave. She's like, I'm out. She called the first time she called me where she was slightly drunk in college. She was like, yeah, my friends went to another party. I could tell it was starting to affect me, so I came to my dorm room. But she needed to know where that limit was, and she needed to know it when she was surrounded by people who loved her. Because if not, it can go real bad real fast.
Absolutely. And
I'm
that
a liquor
research.
victim. I'm coming to the house and get you drunk. I don't even want you to go nowhere. I'm
Exactly.
that type of person.
Exactly. Hmm.
Right. Like I remember having to go through phases. Like my first initial drinking phase was whiskey was always there. Like just Jack and Coke, it rolled off the tongue. Didn't have to,
Mm-hmm.
people would respect you when you said you wanted a Jack and Coke. But I think it was brandy. I drank a whole bunch of E&J. And I realized after I was like, I gotta try something else because this shit is killing me. Cause
Mm-hmm.
so I went from E&J to Seagrams, which was worse. I didn't know it was gonna go in reverse. It was gonna get worse before it got better.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Bumpy Face. Really like Bumpy Face. So when you was like, we used to drink what 7 Up and gin, I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
remember that phase. I went through that
Yep.
phase,
Mm-hmm.
and I drunk that, and I got drunk. I got the drunkest I ever been off of Seagram's gin. So I was like, okay, I like brown. I'm in your age group, so I'm coming up in with Pac in my ear, like the Hennessy got my mind blown.
Thug
Like
Passion.
Mm-hmm.
so,
Thug
Yep.
Passion.
I'm drinking Hennessy, and I'm drinking Hennessy for years, and
Mm-hmm.
every day afterwards, I would just want it to be over. God, please, if you just get me through this
Just get
one.
me through. Just get me through
I,
this one day.
and after you do that for 20 weeks out of 32 weeks, it starts seeming stupid. Like, okay, maybe God is not supporting this. You feel me? So I went back, and like I said, whiskey has always been there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my brother started being more intentional and did more research, and whiskey and bourbon just kind of rose to the top. I can
Mm-hmm.
chill if I'm on some herbals. I can smoke, and as long
Mm-hmm.
as I play my position, I'm good. I'm not gonna get
You can
sick.
balance that out.
I can
Mm-hmm.
balance that out. Um, if I don't want to get drunk at all, but I want to give the allure of what I'm drinking, I'll drink vodka. I'm never gonna
Mm-hmm.
get drunk off vodka. I can drink it. But what was your kind of tour or your experimental process on finding out that okay, I'm a bourbon girl?
Yes. So we know the Mad Dog 2020 phase. We all had, and that was just a rite of passage. So I started
Yeah.
there. After that, I didn't drink for a minute. Then when I came back to it, I jumped into the wrong end of the pool. I jumped back in with tequila.
Mm.
And then there was this one night in March of 2000 that just did not go well for me. And when I tell you I hadn't really messed with tequila since then, it was rough. Like that was,
I just
and
started
so
drinking it again after
yeah,
about
see,
25 years.
I still
I'm
don't drink it.
I'm still
I
not
still don't
messing
drink
with it. Me and tequila will never see eye to eye again. It did me wrong, and it did me dirty. So I'm holding a grudge. But but what I did like at that point about tequila, I liked the smokiness and I liked the variety of flavors. So from that, I went to wine, and specifically red wine. I never liked white wine. And what's funny is I never really liked sweet cocktails. So you'll see a lot, especially women, they start out with some of those sweeter cocktails. I never liked that. So I went to red wine next, especially Cabernets, and I went deep into Cabernets. So I even to this day, that's my second go-to drink is a really nice cab.
Mm.
And wine again reminds me there's some similar kind of components and flavor profiles to certain bourbons. And from that, I went to a lot of red wine that had been aged in bourbon barrels. So it gave me that red wine flavor I was familiar with, but started introducing the smokiness and the oakiness and all of that of bourbon and whiskey. So I started dabbling in it. At the time
Okay.
I was married, my ex really, bourbon was his go to. So I was like, okay, this is something we can do together. So I started drinking it and just fell in love. Like once I sort of developed my palate, because again, at first, and this one of the reasons I do what I do is to educate people on what to start with and how to drink it. Because if that first sip, if you get something that is too strong or too bold or too alcohol forward, it's just going to be gasoline. It's going to burn your throat and chest, and you're never going to want to touch it again. So I had to figure out what was a milder form of it. And then I just kind of increased my palate from there. And now 95% of what I drink is bourbon, and it's bourbon neat. I don't even really do cocktails. So I had a bit of a journey, but I think I landed in the right place. I am quite content with where I am. So I'm starting to
What
get a little bit into some scotch and into some Japanese and Irish whiskeys, but again, my love is bourbon.
what I give you credit for, I watched a couple of your videos, and 115 proof, 118
Oh,
proof, 120 proof. I told people look at me crazy when I go purchase bottles like that,
mm-hmm.
but I'm like, my palate is for that. So that's what I
Yes.
like. When I drink 80
Some of
proof,
that shit tastes like a 9-volt battery though.
But
but
you know what I find when I get the 9-volt battery flavor, for me, it's more related to it being young as opposed to being high proof. I
Right.
can drink a 9-year 130 proof before I can drink a 2 or 3 year 80
yeah,
proof.
like the Knob Creek, the 120 proof Knob Creek, I can take it. I can just
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. There's other stuff that I've ventured out. Wild Turkey was my first drink ever. I was in high school. White dude, his
Mm-hmm.
grandparents had it, but it was 80 proof. I did not like it. I didn't touch liquor after that for years. Now, Wild Turkey 101 is one of my favorite. Going to the
Yes.
store, I do not have to. What I do when I go to the liquor store, I like how you say. How'd you say that? You said, your weakness. You're not going to try not to buy nothing. So what I
Yes.
do when I go
Yeah.
to the liquor store,
Didn't work.
I walk around. If I walk around, more than likely I'm just going to leave with a bottle of Wild Turkey just because that's just
Mm-hmm.
my preference drink.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've learned of different liquors. And a quick story: I'm in the liquor store. Old white man, he's in there, and this is why I love bourbon, especially I love bourbon and whiskey. I'm in there. There's one bottle of
Mm-hmm.
Legion bourbon, and he's looking. I'm looking at it, but I know I didn't want it. And he's like, "It's pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty good. I've been drinking it for so and so. It's pretty good, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
different, but it's good." I turn my back. He snatches the bottle, go to the cash register, and walks out. Like stuff like that, I take pride in because that white man didn't know me from nobody, and
Mm-hmm.
for him to, off my word, purchase that bottle, whether he liked it or not, when he got home,
Yes.
just for that, I think he was like, "All right, this dude drinks. He knows what he's
Mm-hmm.
talking about. The bottle's not that expensive. It's not on the
Mm-hmm.
bottom shelf. It's like it's stages in it, and
Yes.
I take a lot of pride when I tell people I drink bourbon or
I
whiskey, and
I do too. And I have people who will like send me DMs all the time. I picked up that Heaven Hill bottled and bond
oh, I had some the
after
other day.
you but that's what I've been sitting here and sipping on tonight. After you talked about it, or I just tried the Sable, or I got that new Penelope estate collection, or
I ain't like
whatever.
Penelope. I ain't like Penelope.
I I like Penelope. There's some I like more than others.
I think I had the blue one. I think it was blue.
That's the Architect, probably kind of a light blue label. The
Yeah.
Penelope Architect. That one's just okay for me. Now, what I really like is I think my bottle's over there, the Penelope Estate Collection, their private select. It just came out recently, maybe 6 weeks ago now. It is really, really good, and they make a good toasted. Michter's toasted is
Mm.
probably my favorite, but the Penelope toasted is really good. And then their Penelope Rio tastes like cinnamon. So it for me, I only drink it at Christmas time because it just has that cinnamon kind of quality to it. And I just picked up a bottle of the Penelope Valencia. I haven't had it in a really, really long time, and I can't remember what that flavor's like. So I'm probably gonna crack that open tonight or tomorrow so I can check that one out. But I appreciate what the brand has done. They have come a long way. And their expressions, I feel like, are a lot more mature than what they used to be. So as a brand, I like them.
I love
I'm gonna take.
what's
Go ahead.
go ahead. I'm thinking of the brand I've been drinking lately. A lot of. I
Yeah.
love that shit.
I'm gonna take one of my
Ooh.
brother's questions while you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
What's your what's your economical choice?
Yeah.
What's your go-to? And what's your special occasion?
So my special occasion is E.H. Taylor single barrel. Um, of the allocated bottles, of the ones that are harder to find, E.H. Taylor is my favorite. And it's not the most expensive. It's not the hardest to find, but I love the E.H. Taylor flavor profile. I really, really like Weller Antique 107. I even like Eagles Rare, and the Eagles Rare 17, which is super hard to find, is a great, great pour. But my go-to, like when I'm feeling fancy, that I'll pull out my E.H. Taylor single barrel. My kind of everyday sipper, what I've been drinking, and I have so many. I always say it's like picking your favorite child. So it's one of those, as of 8:28 p.m. Central Time, my favorite of the moment. I've been drinking a lot of Old Elk. I really like theirs, especially their wheated bourbon. It is really, really nice. And I've been drinking a lot of Frank August small batch. I love Frank August. And for me, that's a brand I don't think enough people are talking about. And then my economical bottle, I would go with, I'm looking around here. The Bardstown Origin Series, their wheated, is really nice. And then this Bernheim High Wheat is nice. And actually the Redemption bourbon is another one that's a a really good price, but it's a great pour. So those would be some of my favorites.
Basil Hayden. I got on Basil Hayden probably about 3 months ago, and I fell in love with it. I fell so much in love with it. I went to my partner's house, and he had some Buffalo Trace.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Yeah, give me the Buffalo Trace." I poured me a whole glass of Buffalo Trace on ice, no nothing. Pour me a whole. We watching football. Pour me a whole one. He was like, "You ever had this?" I was like, "No, I ain't had it." But since you ain't got it open, I'm the type of person. If it ain't open, I don't want it. Even if you offer it to me, I don't want it. So he ripped the tag out. Try this. When I tell you, we drunk that whole bottle, and I didn't want to see nothing called Buffalo Trace ever again.
Yep. I get it.
That Basil Hayden is a monster to me. It's but I do drink like Old Granddad 120 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 120 proof Old Granddad. Legion. I don't know if you heard of Legion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've had the Foresters. I had the Rye Forester. I had the regular Forester.
Yeah.
Eagle Raider. Shout out to my homeboy. He gifted us a bottle of Eagle Rare. He lost his.
I lost my bottle.
How did you lose it? What do you mean you lost it?
Man,
tell the truth, man.
Yeah, there's a story here. What did you do?
Man. I go chill with my brother and his partner over there. So we sitting over there, we watching the fight. He got the TV outside. They got to smoke cigars. I'm in an element that I'm not used to because I don't smoke cigars. I've always wanted to get into it. So he gave me a cigar. We out there smoking. He brought out we was already drinking. He was like, "You ever had Eagles Red?" I said, "Nah." He came, he dropped the bottle on the table. He was like, "Now take it home. You got it." What? So we smoking and drinking. So it's time for me to go. I drove across town. I drove about 20 minutes across town. I get out the car. I get to the front door and walk in the house and drop the whole bottle as soon as I walk in the house. The whole bottle fell out. What I try to do is I try to get everything I needed out the car in one trip.
But you had precious cargo, man. You can't do that when you got bottles and babies. Those are the two things that you take in by themselves. You don't want to drop a baby and you don't want to drop a bottle of liquor. Like you played that wrong.
Excuse me, man.
My daddy would have made him get a straw. Daddy would have told him get a straw, cuz.
I'm telling you.
Hurt for that.
Bottles and babies, you handle them with care. I need to put that on a t-shirt.
You do.
For sure.
But I'm one of the people that when people call, like, I got some. I always got some. But I guess I could have just left it in the car that night and just got it the next day. But
you could have made two. I mean, now with groceries, I'm a one-trip person. I'm gonna get all them bags and have them up and down my arms. But if it's liquor, I'm gonna treat it a little different because it's It's easier to
Especially
replace a bunch of bananas than a bottle of Eagles Rare.
for sure, for
So
sure.
what is your budget? You got $20. What you going to get if you got $20?
$20. I am picking up JTS Brown.
JTS. I don't know if I had that.
And the hard part about it is, and I can show you what the bottle looks like. It's hard to find outside of Kentucky. This is what the bottle looks like.
JT.
Yeah, JTS Brown. This is such a great pour for $20. If I'm not in Kentucky and I can't get it, then I will go with Evan Williams Bottled in Bond,
Ooh,
like that white
which one?
bottle of
The 100
this.
proof.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's my drink right there.
this one right here.
That's my
Hold on, let me
drink.
believe that.
So yeah,
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
if I can't, so if I'm not in Kentucky, then I'll go with this one because that's like $15 or so.
That's my drink now.
And that's what I tell people all the time. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get some really good pours. I mean, obviously, the more you spend, the more options you have, but you can get some great stuff without spending a ton of money.
I drink kind of fast, even when I'm slow poking. I still drink fast, so that's what I do. It's not even about can I afford it. It's is it gonna last me for what I want it for? I'm not about to burn $70-$80 and I down it in 6-7 hours when I can do the same shit with $25 to $40. That'd be my mind state. Because me and my partner, every time we're together, we go through a bottle. So we might be together 2 weekends out the month, and we'll go through a bottle. So I kind of
You gotta have your everyday bottle. You gotta have your everyday bottle, and then you gotta have your occasion bottle. You gotta have your I'm just trying it. You know what I'm saying? Just being versatile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got way too much of that.
You go through phases. Phases. He'll collect them, and he'll do that.
As soon as I open one top, it's over.
Yeah.
And I have probably 50, 60 bottles open right now, but I consider it the same way I do food. People will get a craving for something sweet, or you get a craving for something savory. I'm the same way with bourbon. Sometimes I will crave something a little spicier. Sometimes I'll crave something a little sweeter. So that's why I always keep so many different options and so many different bottles open, because what I'm in the mood for, from day to day is going to change.
So for you, I don't know your relationship status, but for you,
I am single, if anyone's curious and asking. Just for everyone out here in YouTube land, just so y'all know, must love bourbon, and you can't have any young kids because my baby is 21 and I am not starting over. So, but yes, continue with your question.
So how do you handle the guys that shoot their shot that don't drink, and the guys that shoot their shot that drink, and you're just like, no, you have no etiquette?
So what I will say, I am not a bourbon snob. Like, I believe at the end of the day, you really should drink whatever it is you like and drink it in the way that you like. What I have a bigger issue with.
Pause. Can I hit the pause real quick? Pause.
Yes.
I saw your video when you said that. You be like people that shoot bourbon.
Well, yeah. Now that's an exception.
I've been shooting this whole time. I've been shooting.
I'm trying not to hold it against you. We listen and we don't judge. That's the new thing going around. That's the new thing. So I'm gonna try not to.
I've been drinking shine. I've been drinking real shine. So.
See, there you go. Well, that works then. But so that's my first thing. I believe people should drink whatever they like. But what I have a bigger issue with are men who want to teach me about bourbon. And I'm not saying that I know everything, because nobody knows everything there is to know, but they see me as a woman and just assume I want a cocktail. They assume I don't drink bourbon. They assume I don't know anything about whiskey. So they start making these recommendations to me. And it's typically some 80 proof, slow and low, which is basically a cocktail in a bottle. And I'm like, I wouldn't drink that, with somebody else's tongue. There's no way you about to pour that in my glass. So that's what I have a bigger issue with, are men who just make these assumptions that because I'm a woman, I don't know anything about brown liquor. And what's interesting is 36% of bourbon drinkers are women. But bourbon companies don't market to us and they don't talk to us in the same way. But we're the biggest growing demographic of bourbon drinkers right now. So yeah, what's crazy is when I'm in a cigar bar, and that's where I spend, that cigar bars are my go-to place most of the time. So I'm in a cigar bar, somebody comes up to me, which is cool. We have a great conversation. And they're like, "Oh, let me get you a drink. What do you want? And they'll name some cocktail. I'm like, "No, I'll take, a Eagles Rare Neat." Oh, what you know about that? And then I start talking about it, and I most of the time know a whole lot more about bourbon than they do. And then they will either, get intimidated and walk away or catch an attitude about it. So that's my bigger issue. Like I don't have an issue with men who drink in a different way than I do. That's all right. Everybody don't have good taste. I can handle that. Um, I don't, and I'm fine with people who don't drink as long as they don't care that I drink.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
because to me, that just means I have an automatic
Yeah.
designated driver everywhere I go. So,
I know that's right.
ideally, I want it to be something we can enjoy together. But as long as you're not sitting here judging or talking about the fact that I have, triple digit number of bottles throughout the house, as long as you don't have an issue with that, we're good. But yeah, my bigger issue are people who want to educate me on something that they know far less about than I do.
And this
I've
is what I'm gonna
always
say. I'm gonna put a pin in this for the old black men. Old black men create this file. I'm an older black man, so I get it. But I'm also a little bit more progressive in my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Stop assuming that you know what
Yes.
these women are into, cuz. Like,
Yes.
and it's not even just liquor. I know some women that are firearms experts. I know some
Mm-hmm.
women that work on cars or race cars. So don't, if you're gonna approach a woman to buy her a drink, just be prepared for what she say
Yes.
and go get that
Exactly.
drink.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you offer her your expertise on nothing unless she asks you.
you know
Amen.
Okay.
what I
What he said.
what I don't like when I see a dude at the bar and I can tell he either spitting game or that's his girl
Mm-hmm.
and he order a hen and coke or a crown and coke.
Mm.
Like I just feel like to me that's my personal preference. Like you ain't shit and you just ordering for it to sound good. Like that's been my whole. That's always been my like you ordering that
Mm-hmm.
shit because that's all you know
That's all you know.
and you think that shit is good. Now, granted, it be the hood spots or the semi-hood spots where it's
Mm-hmm.
okay, but me stepping back just listening to the order, I'm on some damn, bro. Now, if I go to a little upscale spot, I throw my little twist in there. Um, I always ask them, uh, so what bourbon you got?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
what type of bourbon you got? Uh, I don't drink bourbon and soda. So there's only two ways I'm gonna drink my bourbon. I'm either gonna drink it straight or I'm gonna drink it with Red Bull. Those are only two
Mm-hmm.
ways I'm drinking it. And went out and had a bartender make me. They the way they presented was like they never did it like that. Red Bull and bourbon. And
Mm-hmm.
when I tell you, I told the waitress, "Hey, go back and tell that bartender they did their thing."
Yeah.
Like I'm the type of person like go tell them. Go tell them they do their thing. I just,
Mm-hmm.
as we were talking earlier, I do judge you off your drinks.
Yeah.
I judge
For
you off your
sure.
drinks more so than I judge you off how you handle it because it takes a while for me to figure out how you handle it. But to order a drink, I do judge you off that.
Yeah. And see, and I've told people before, like guys who have offered to buy me, because I'm picky when I go out to drink, because I do have a very, I know what I like. And someone who just met me, depending on where I am, I'm not going to expect you. I appreciate you offering to buy me a drink. I'm not going to expect you to buy me a $40 pour. To me, that's just rude on my part.
Hell
But
yeah.
I'm also one, and like I'll say it, it is. But I am one, if I'm out, I'm going to drink whatever I started drinking, I tend to stick with that. So this particular night, I was drinking Michter's Toasted, and the bar I was at, the pour was like $35 each. And I made the choice because I was spending my money. But then if somebody else was like, "Hey, can I get you a drink?" I'm like, "You know what? I would love that, but I'll be honest. I'll just make a joke of it. I've been on some bougie stuff tonight, so I'm not even gonna ask you to do that, but it'll be great for us to just sit here and have a conversation. Um, then he got offended. Oh, you think I can't afford it? Cool. In
Mm.
that case, I would like a Michter's toasted. So he glances down at the menu. $35. Why you drinking that? You just trying to flex. No, sir. I told you.
Ooh.
I told you on the front end. We can have a conversation without you buying me anything because that's just what I was in the mood for tonight. But then it was a whole situation. So it's interesting going out as a single woman when you are a bourbon like connoisseur because you get all kind of either assumptions or reactions that are just
He's just a
interesting.
terrible man, though. Cause how did you get mad that she tried to save you
hmm
and then
And
get
then
mad?
mad when you can't have it both ways, sir. I'm gonna need you to pick a lane. Pick your
Oh my
oppression.
god.
Pick what you're gonna be pissed about. You cannot be pissed about both. Cause I warned you. I told you. I made a joke about it, and it was clear I was not gonna judge you if you said I'm not gonna buy you. And I said we can just sit here and talk. You don't have to buy me anything. Conversation's free. We can just sit here and
We
talk.
would,
No big deal.
we would have been sitting here talking, and I would have said, "Hey, let me get one wild turkey 101, ma'am. What would you like to drink?"
hmm
I, I do feel like people being a bourbon connoisseur to me is you put yourself in a social class also.
You
For
do.
sure.
So
You do.
when people outside that social class, the Hennessy, the gins, the vodkas, the
hmm
tequilas, when they try to, well, I drink so I can put my foot in there. No, it's a little different. Your foot can come
Yeah.
in, but it can get chopped off at the same. And I
hmm
think
For
that's what
sure.
people don't understand. Like when I talk bourbon to white folk and other folk, is like I don't even think they see me as being black for a moment.
They don't. They
I
don't.
just yeah.
I just wrote an article and I said, cigar bars and bourbon bars are like my cheers, where everybody knows your name. Because when you walk in, for the time that you are there, and I traveled a lot with the job I had before now, and bourbon and cigar bars were the only places I always felt comfortable going as a single black woman. And this is even when, during kind of 2016 to 2020 when Trump was president and the world was super crazy.
Mm.
But even in that time, as a single black woman, I would still feel comfortable going to those places because when you walk in, it didn't matter your race, your age, your socioeconomic status. You had this common interest that bonded you, and everybody would sit there and talk and share. It's nothing for somebody to say, "Hey, I got this extra stick. It's really nice. You want to try it?" Or, "I just had a pour of this. Here, let me get you some." Like it's a different culture, and that culture is what really pulled me in. And you're right. When you start talking about it with folks, they forget who you are, where you live, or what you look like. Now, when you walk out, it may be a different story.
Yeah,
But for the time that you are there, y'all are all good.
yeah.
There was this good old colored boy in the bar the other
Yeah, I'm
day,
about to
man.
say,
He had
Exactly.
what,
good taste.
That's what he's gonna tell his friends the next day. But that's the same as I'm gonna go and say, "Yeah, I was talking to this old white dude, and he was all right. He was cool."
yeah,
We do it too.
yeah.
Indeed.
On the closeout because this actually went by fast. It went by
It
real
did.
fast.
It did.
Um, what is it that on your bourbon cigar venture? What is it about you that you would like people to know?
First, you should hire me to do bourbon and cigar tastings and pairings for you. So I'm gonna always throw in that shameless plug. So
Not
yes,
no
that'll be the
$35 no drink. You ain't really not drinking no $35.
so yes, that would be the first thing. Um, but I think, the thing that I think about it is my whole goal in everything that I do around bourbon and cigars is to educate others for the exact reason we were just talking about. Because the bourbon and cigar kind of culture, community, whatever you want to call it, is so accepting. It is one of the few places in this country right now where you can go, you can be a part of it regardless of your demographics and have a place where you fit in and resonate. But in order to do that, I know people need to have a certain amount of knowledge and education. So I want to give that to folks so they feel comfortable going to a bar and ordering a bourbon or going to a cigar bar and knowing what cigar they want to pick out because it can be incredibly intimidating. So that's why I love the whole education piece. That's why I love talking about it, especially with folks that are new to bourbon and cigars, because the community that has been built around this is just, it's hands down better than any other group I'm a part of. So follow me on all the socials so you can kind of get in on all the education and conversation. And it's a
Go
lot
ahead
of
and give them
fun.
out.
There are worse ways to spend your money. So on both IG and TikTok, I am at Christy Pruitt-Haynes, ChristyPruittHaynes. And then my company is called the Sip and Smoke Experience. So we do cigar tastings, bourbon tastings, brand collaborations and activations. Anything around bourbon and cigars, we got you.
That's dope, man. That's really dope. Thank you,
Thank you.
Christy.
Thank you. Absolutely. This has been fun.
For sure, for sure. What you got on
Yes.
the
Thank you.
closeout, Carolina? Or did he freeze up?
No, no, I'm good.
Yeah, because you was focused, cuz I thought you froze up.
I kind of, bruh,
He was
it's,
focused. He was listening.
I was listening, and it's Wednesday. Like I'm ready to turn up 9 and say fuck work the next 2 days. But
That's how it be.
I'm ready to get in the bottle now. We've been drinking, like I said, we've been drinking some little creek water. That's why I had some bullet, but I'm drinking the creek water, the moonshine, the lightning, the skunk, the stomp. I was drinking all
Uncle
that.
Jesse.
Yeah, Uncle Jesse. But I had a bottle of bullet over here I could have drunk. But I just want to say I appreciate you sharing your time and being just real personable with all your responses, your conversations,
And knowledgeable.
you know,
Thank
very
you.
knowledgeable.
Thank you.
Our show is not scripted. We take pride in just this is who we are if we turn the camera off. If you turn the camera off and you just meet us,
Dang.
this is just us. We're not trying to find no hidden agendas. We're not trying to find no mathematical ratios of why this people do this and that. No, we just want to have a conversation. And when I say it, it's like lower than a barbershop. It's just calm. It's just
Indeed.
we'll let it flow. I definitely want to bring you back on for 2 times because, of course, Jake. I definitely want to bring you on with Jake.
Yes.
He is a superb content creator. He has his own t-shirt business. He's very much in cryptocurrency. He has all types of stuff going on.
Very cool.
He's highly educated. And just your personality might match with something else we got because you sound like other guests we've had as far as your voice structure. Just I think you came with a good relaxed euphoric state because it just seems like I said it went by real fast. So definitely want to bring you back. But to get back to my brother saying we live next Wednesday. I don't know if we're going on Friday. We might get Friday. We may not get Friday. It all depends. Christy, but make sure you let me know like what days are good for you, whether it's a Wednesday or Friday, so I can set that up with Jake. So on Fridays it's 9:35. So I can set that up with Jake and get his so we can match y'all up.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Absolutely, man. Look, it's always dope. My brother finds the most thorough, extraordinary people, man. And that's what the show is built on. It's like you pass people every day, you bump shoulders or you hold the door for somebody, and you don't know everything that goes into who that person is. You get an opportunity to sit with them for 5 or 10 minutes and you find out that they are extraordinary or have done extraordinary things. You definitely fall into that category.
Thank you.
We always say, people think that the most valuable commodity in the world is money or jewels, currency, whatever. It's time. So thank you for sharing your time with us and giving us the great information, the great attitudes, the great perspective. Is there anything that you want to say before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. This has been a ball. Thank you so much for having me on. I will be thrilled to come back anytime. And cheers, y'all.
Indeed, man. Look,
she fell down that Mario wormhole when she fell off that thing. Fell off the building.
If you never repelled, you wouldn't know. That's some scary shit. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
Hey, I live to tell the tale. That's all. I'm thankful for that. I live to tell the tale.
We're going to get you an MD 2020 sponsor on this show. That's what we're going to work that out. Everybody
There
doing
you
Blue
go.
Chew and all this other stuff. We're We gonna do damn MD 2020
Let's
clanking
do it.
clank.
Let's do it. We'll do a Mad Dog 2020 tasting.
Y'all gonna do it by yourself. I'm over that. I am over that. Look, I thank y'all for tuning in to the BOTB live show, man. I'm Jay Walken. That's Carolina Dirt. Special shout out to Christy Pruitt-Haynes, man. Love the people who love you back. And until next time, man, y'all be easy. We gone.